And a hand. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this kickoff event for Taste to Go, this year's celebration of Chicago's great festival. I am Mark Kelly, the Commissioner of Cultural Affairs and Special Events for the City of Chicago, and it's my pleasure to introduce this program, welcome our speakers, and in particular welcome our Mayor, Lori Lightfoot. Let's give them all a hand. So everyone knows Taste. This is the 40th anniversary of Taste, which is the largest free outdoor festival in the world. A festival that celebrates the great restaurants and culinary traditions of Chicago, celebrates the great music, arts, and culture of Chicago. And by the way, this is the most diverse festival in Chicago. It brings everyone together and attracts tourists from around the world. Of course, this year with the pandemic, we can't have 1.3 million people coming together during Taste, so we have created a program. We have created a program, Taste of Chicago, called Taste to Go, that captures the spirit of this festival. Our mayor, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, challenged us in this year to not go dark with Taste, but find a way to bring Taste forward in this year. And I think you will agree as we introduce this program to you that we have accomplished that. So, Taste of Chicago to Go is launching today and running through Sunday, July 12th. It will offer Chicagoans and food lovers across the globe 5 days of free online cooking demonstrations and virtual music and dance events, plus an expanded series of community eats meals provided by neighborhood restaurants and food trucks for nonprofits serving frontline workers and Chicagoans in need. I'm so proud that we're going to be offering 21 free meals, largely on the south and west side of the city, including hospital workers and first responders. Let's give them a hand. A local dining guide showcasing this year's 42 participating eateries is available online, along with the schedule of new and reimagined events at tasteofchicago.us. And let's also remind ourselves, let's celebrate the Illinois Restaurant Association, all our great restaurants, and the great culinary traditions of this city that are across the entire city. Today we'll have cooking demonstrations in this week that will stream daily at noon, Wednesday through Sunday at youtube.com/ChicagoDcase, featuring these popular local chefs: Carlos Gatan of Zuko, Maya Camille Broussard of Justice of the Pies, Jessica Romanowski of Care Kitchen Chicago, Darnell Reed of Luella's Southern Kitchen, and Sarah Grunberg of Monteverde. Let's give all of these chefs a hand. I also want to recognize all of our food trucks that have gathered today, and we're going to have a little parade at the end of this event. So welcome to Aztec Dave's, to Cynthia's Gumbo Express, to La Cocinita, to Lifeway Kefir, to Ms. Tittle's Cupcakes, Wada Jerk, and Yum Dum. Let's also give them a hand. Tonight, Summer Dance in Place will feature Bollywood and Bhangra with Bollywood Groove and DJ Illfest. And don't miss our Millennium Park at Home concert Thursday evening, feature the Braided Janes and the iconic Chicago music individual John Langford. By the way, tonight, Summer Dance in Place, we're encouraging summer dance parties, social distant dance parties across the city, dancing to the Bollywood groove. Taste of Chicago and Taste of Chicago to Go are presented by Mayor Lightfoot and DCase, with advertising support from the Chicago Transit Authority. Summer Dance in Place is presented with the Chicago Park District, Chicago Transit Authority, Illinois Arts Council Agency, and the Millennium Park Foundation, as well as WTTW. And the Millennium Park at Home music series is made possible by the Chicago Community Trust and Illinois Arts Council Agency. Now, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Chicago native Thomas Brewer. He learned how to cook watching YouTube at home in his Auburn Gresham neighborhood. He used those skills to launch Wada Jerk Food Truck, a Caribbean food truck that specializes in jerk fusion street food. Please welcome Thomas Brewer. Thank you.
Thank you to Commissioner Kelly for the introduction. Hello everyone, my name is Thomas Brewer. I'm the owner of Wada Jerk Food Truck. I grew up on the south side of Chicago in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood. Wada Jerk, we specialize in Caribbean fusion street food. I opened Wada Jerk in 2018. I had the pleasure of being a part of the Taste of Chicago in 2019. It was an amazing experience. As a resident of Chicago, I grew up my whole life coming to the Taste of Chicago every year. It's always been a must-do in the month of July. For a part of the Community East program, Wada Jerk will partner up with Mount Sinai Hospital, and we will be feeding the first responders and also employees. I'm very excited to be a part of the Taste of Chicago to go. Thanks to Neil, Program Director of Taste Chicago, and Mayor Lightfoot for finding a safe way to continue this tradition that Chicagoans love. If you're interested in finding Wada Jerk Food Truck, follow us on social media platforms under Wada Jerk or Wada Jerk Food Truck, or download our Wada Jerk app in your app store. You can also order on all delivery platforms, mobile delivery platforms. Looking towards to the future, Wada Jerk will be opening a bar and grill in 2021. Being a part of this program and this press conference means a lot to me, because it's some kid and some adult that looks like me watching us right now on TV. And if you are that person and you have a dream to be a successful entrepreneur, never give up. Anything is possible with proper preparation, a lot of hard work, emphasis on a lot of hard work, and trust in the process. You could achieve anything. Please stay safe, continue to social distance. As me and some of my friends say, you do not want Auntie Lori popping up at your party. So make sure you continue to wear your mask. Before bringing our mayor up, I first would like to thank her for her patience and resilience and her support she provides to our city, especially with food trucks, extending the 2-hour parking ordinance to 4 hours. I'm looking forward to the future of the food truck community in Chicago. With no further ado, I would like to bring up the people's mayor, our mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot.
And Thomas, you can invite me to your party, but you gotta feed me and you gotta have good beverages, but I'll be there. Good morning, everyone. And I really think that Thomas's comments really exemplify what this event is all about, but also the spirit of the restaurateurs and entrepreneurs across our city. They've had a very, very tough go. This shutdown occasioned by COVID, which was necessary to keep people safe, has really, really affected their ability to earn a living and to really realize their dreams. But as you heard from Thomas, and I've heard this from others across the city, the spirit of resiliency and can-do and how to adapt, that is what our restaurateurs are all about. And so I want to give it up for all of the ones that are here today, but all the ones across our neighborhoods who are hanging tough and doing and realizing their dream of owning a business and really bringing great food to the residents of their community. So thank you all for that. I want to recognize Commissioner Kelly. He's right. I pushed him and his team very, very hard. And here's why. It's easy in a difficult time to say, we'll just shut it down. It's more challenging to say, let's think about how we can do this creatively, how we can still bring arts and culture and entertainment to our residents who depend so much on this for the vibrancy of Chicago and neighborhoods. And it gives everyone hope. Shutting down, having nothing, that doesn't bring hope and inspiration. So Commissioner Kelly, I want to thank you and your team for all your hard work to making sure that we still are bringing activities and culture to our residents, even in this difficult time. I want to recognize Manai Edwards of Mount Sinai Hospital, a great partner on the West Side. And of course, Mark Schulman and his whole family of Eli Cheesecake. They are rightfully a Chicago mainstay. And all of the 42 participating restaurants and food trucks. I want to again thank the entire team at Cultural Affairs who will be rolling out 150 new and reimagined summer events to allow us to continue to have the kind of fun we want this summer, but doing so safely and responsibly. These events and activities include Millennium Park at Home, virtual concert and workout series, the Summer Dance in Place, at-home dance party series, and a new twist on our favorite traditions which starts today. As Commissioner Kelly said, from now till Sunday, our city will be celebrating our flavorful festival, Taste of Chicago to Go. For food lovers in Chicago and across the world, the Taste of Chicago has always been the event to experience our city's legendary and diverse culinary, music, and art scenes. For our local restaurants, and particularly our startups, it's a huge opportunity to showcase their cooking talents and give back to their communities. Local restaurants make up the backbone of our neighborhoods. And please, folks, let's make sure that we go out and we patronize them. They hire from the neighborhood, they support neighborhood causes, and we need to do our part and make sure that we are supporting our local restaurants. That's why we've worked together over the past few months to find creative ways to support them and the communities they serve while still prioritizing health and safety. In addition to opening their doors for pickup and buckling up for delivery and food truck tours, this year's vendors will participate in an expanded Community Eats program. This program was created a year ago to highlight the work that our restaurants and organizations do each and every day to positively impact their communities. In the first year, the program matched participating Taste of Chicago restaurants and food trucks with 9 different nonprofits to serve free community meals, giving them the opportunity to give back and extend the festival into neighborhoods. This year, we're expanding the program's partnerships to 21. And most of these meals will take place in our Invest Southwest neighborhoods, whose residents and restaurants have been severely impacted this year in particular. Restaurants participating in the expanded Community Eats programs will drop off food or serve directly from their food trucks to the community organizations they partner with for their staff, volunteers, and clients to enjoy. These include organizations such as Mount Sinai Hospital, which continues to work round the clock to care for victims of COVID and gun violence, 2 public health epidemics our city is grappling with. And again, we can't say enough to Sinai. They really cared for people in their worst, most difficult moments, and they stand up, they've been a stalwart, and they really care about the West Side community. So thank you again to Mount Sinai. This year's Taste of Chicago isn't one any of us expected, of course, but we're making sure it's one we'll never forget. And just like the taste that came before it, Taste of Chicago to Go will ensure that all Chicagoans, no matter their circumstances, will get the chance to savor and experience culinary talent our city has to offer, which is great. We are the culinary capital of the United States because of all the hard work and creativity of our restaurant class. I also want to give a special thanks to all the restaurateurs in Chicago. I want to give thanks to the Illinois Restaurant Association and our partner Sam Toya, who's been a fearless advocate not only for his members but for Chicago and making sure that we open up and we do it safely. And with that, I'd like to introduce Manai Edwards, Director of Human Resources at Mount Sinai Hospital. Manai.
Thank you, Mayor Lightfoot. My name is Manai Edwards. I am the Director of Human Resources for Sinai Health Systems. I am pleased to be here this morning, not only representing Sinai Health Systems, but all the caregivers that work at Sinai as well. Sinai Health System is Chicago's largest private safety net health system, located on Chicago's west and south side. Sinai Health System is comprised of Mount Sinai Hospital, Holy Cross Hospital, Swab Rehabilitation Hospital, Sinai Children's Hospital, Sinai Community Institute, Sinai Medical Center, and Sinai Urban Healthcare Institute. Every day, our dedicated caregivers show up and go to work of taking care of people who are scared and sick. During the COVID-19 pandemic, they have put in long hours on the front lines of the battle against this cruel and unforgiving virus. Beyond the clinical caregivers, like doctors and nurses, there are other caregivers who show up and really are on the front line. Food service workers, cleaning staff, security workers, greeters, and maintenance teams show up every day to keep their hospitals open and ensure there's a place for those in need to come. They don't always get the attention and credit, but they're heroes in the fight too. At Sinai Health System and in hospitals throughout our city and state, our commitment is to take care of those in need. It is truly inspirational to see the way that our communities have stepped up to return this commitment, going the extra mile to take care of us. The outpouring of support from community members and organizations, businesses, and others have been remarkable for Sinai. Donations of supplies, masks, gowns, food, and funds have poured in from all different directions. Construction contractors have donated protective gear like masks and face shields. Medical schools have donated surgical masks, gowns, and gloves. Restaurant owners, already facing their own challenges, have brought in food for healthcare workers day after day. I have personally seen the faces of caregivers light up when we get food donations because it makes them feel that they haven't been left out, that they are being cared for as well. That's why Sinai Health System and our caregivers are truly pleased to participate in Community Eats program, which is providing meals for many of the folks working hard to keep people on the west and south side, including our caregivers at Sinai. We're really touched to receive the wonderful donations of food provided to us by Water Jerk Food Truck and Eli's Cheesecake. We'd like to thank Mayor Lightfoot, Thomas Brewer from Water Jerk, and Mark Schulman from Eli's for their generosity, care, and support for frontline healthcare workers at Sinai and across the city. These caregivers continue to work tirelessly to ensure that our patients are receiving the best care and resources that can provide them to get back home well. You are greatly appreciated. So on behalf of Sinai and the caregivers at Sinai, we thank you.
Mayor Lightfoot, Commissioner Kelly, I'm Mark Schulman, the president of Eli's Cheesecake, and very happy to be here today. Following the presentation by Mount Sinai is very important to me personally. My father's first restaurant, Eli's Ogden Huddle, was just several blocks from Mount Sinai, and it's the hospital that I was born at. So my family is West Siders as well, and we're very happy that we'll be with Thomas today, delivering 400 slices of Eli's Cheesecake to Sinai, and that's in addition to the 5,000 slices we've been donating over time. Taste of Chicago is a very important tradition for my family and our company. It was in 1980 at the first Taste of Chicago that my father, Eli Schulman, in his suit and tie came out to Michigan Avenue not knowing what to expect. First time Eli's Cheesecake was served outside the restaurant. The lines, the crowds have always been there, and we're very proud that we're the only vendor who has been in every taste ever since. So we're very excited this year to participate in Taste to Go, and it is a little different, but if it's Chicago, there's a cheesecake. It's a smaller cheesecake than normal, but we continue the tradition of support and being involved in the community. And I think this year, I think everyone here has lost something over these last months. I know it was my daughter's 30th birthday celebration. It's another daughter's wedding coming up. So think of this as a save the cake. It's a save the date. We're not celebrating our 40th today. Next year, the Saturday at Taste, we look forward to Mayor Lightfoot being there with an even much larger Eli's Cheesecake, celebrating our city, surviving and getting through our industry, the pandemic, but doing it safely and being together. So we'll look forward to Taste next year. We'll look forward to serving safely slices of Eli's Cheesecake today of going to Sinai. And we really thank the mayor and her administration for the commitment to our industry. The hospitality industry in Chicago is so dynamic, and we are in the neighborhoods, and we employ lots of people, and we want to get through it together. So with that, I think I get to ask the brass band, the 4-star brass band, to lead us in singing Happy Birthday for this 40th with an asterisk Taste of Chicago. Looking forward to a great, bigger Taste of Chicago in 2021. So, gentlemen, you ready?
Yeah. My mask on. All right, happy to take any questions that you have. All right.
Could you speak up, Diana?
Yeah.
I will, as soon as I get to the question. Thank you. So she's asking, why is General Iron being allowed to partially reopen during a respiratory pandemic?
Well, I want to make sure that we're clear about what the activities there are. The shredding operations remain shut, and they will not open anytime soon. Our investigation remains ongoing. What limited activities are is basically moving recycling material on and off the property, making sure that they're doing it in a way that doesn't go into the neighborhood. So it's very, very limited activity.
The next question, this is from a couple people, in fact. So this is Bill from WLS Radio. People are asking how bars can be open, but now not beaches.
I'm sorry?
Bars can be open, but not beaches.
Well, they're not the same thing, right? And we are being very, very cautious with the bars being open, and that's why we've placed a lot of emphasis over the last week to 10 days about what absolutely needs to happen within bars to make sure that they are doing everything possible to keep their workers safe and to keep their customers safe. And we're constantly monitoring that. And if we need to take some steps back, we won't hesitate to do it.
And what about beaches? I mean, I know a lot of residents are just itching with this weather.
Yeah, I understood, but I think beaches pose particular challenges because of the social distancing issue. Very difficult to enforce social distancing on a beach. We've seen that in other areas of the country that started and then closed down their beaches. We just think at this point, particularly given where we are in the arc of the virus, opening up beaches or swimming pools is a step too far.
So Fran from the Sun-Times is asking about that special unit regarding violence, and she's saying it's been tried before with the Chicago Police Department several times over, only to be disbanded or surrounded by some controversy. So what makes it different this time?
Well, I think that the superintendent is very cognizant of the challenges that existed with these groups before, and putting in particular safeguards to make sure that there's proper supervision and accountability. It's much smaller than it's been before. I think at times past it surged to 400 or more. We're not going that large, but we need the flexibility of a centralized group.
Now, does that mean, though, or are you thinking about if you go into one area, doesn't that push violence or?
No. We're always looking at the data, and we're going to make strategic deployments based upon what we're seeing, both in terms of trends, but also what's happening on the ground. We need to have the flexibility to add more resources when we see a hotspot flare up with gang conflicts or some other kind of violence driver. So that's the strategic, I think, importance of this group. But we need to make sure that we put the safeguards in place so that we don't have the kind of challenges that we've had in years past.
Amy Jacobson with WIND Radio says the IHSA and the Illinois Department of Public Health have cleared high school coaches, dog practices for fall sports. Can you guarantee CPS coaches can hold summer practices and have high school, middle school sports also?
Well, I'm not sure that that's actually correct, but there will be some cautious conditioning work that starts this summer, but I'll leave it to CPS to disclose the details of that.
Just one more question on that special unit, the violence. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that and how, what the plan is to move them in place because the weekend is coming up?
Well, again, that's going to be dictated by what the data tells us leading into the weekend. The whole point of having this unit is to have flexibility, to be more nimble, and to place resources where they're needed based upon what's really happening real time. That's the whole point of having this centralized unit that can be deployed to address any flare-ups, hotspots in any neighborhood across the city.
One of the things we've heard is President Trump saying he wants to bring students physically back in class this fall. Give us your reaction to that and how that pertains to CPS and the students in our area.
Well, again, I think that this really has to be a localized decision. Candidly, I don't put much weight into what President Trump says, particularly given his lack of leadership over the course of this pandemic. But making those kinds of decisions has to lie with the local school districts, because we and they are the ones that know what's actually happening in local circumstances. So making some broad declaration at the federal level and ignoring the particular circumstances of a locality where they are in the arc of their virus, what their plans are, eliminating the possibility for some kind of a hybrid model, that doesn't make any sense. It's ironic because typically Republicans talk about states' rights and localized control, but here's one where the president's trying to mandate from Washington, D.C. what the conditions should be on the ground across the country. That doesn't make any sense. We all want to do what is in the best interest of our children, and that's got to be dictated by the public health guidance. And we're in July. We don't know what's going to happen in September. We're carefully watching it. We're making sure that we're putting plans together, but those decisions have to be done locally.
Do those plans include that kind of hybrid style of learning that you talked about, a remote class?
Well, I'll let CPS get into the details of that, but I think Dr. Jackson and her team, Dr. McDade, have been very thoughtful about thinking through with the guidance from the Illinois State Board of Education, what it would mean to come back together in the fall, what the circumstances would be. But it's all contingency right now because we don't know, sitting here in July, what September is going to look like.
This is the last question.
Sure.
From Fran. She asks about, so the local school council at prestigious Northside Prep has voted to remove its police officer. Are you surprised by that decision, and will it be a first of maybe many?
Well, I can't speculate about that, but the whole point is those decisions should be made by the local school council. They shouldn't be made by the mayor. They shouldn't be made by the Board of Education. We have set up a process where local school councils are empowered, they're getting information, and they should make the decisions that is in the best interest of their particular schools. That's what this discussion should be about, making sure that the people who are closest to it, who know what the individual school environment is like, in conversation with parents, teachers, and other stakeholders, that's where the decision should be made.
Let's open it up to the other reporter.
Yes, sir.
I'm Won Park with the Korean TV News Network in Chicago. 106 stores reported to the Korean Association, and 200 estimated Korean-owned beauty supply and fashion stores in South and West Side are looted and burned, and the community is really upset about it. What is the city doing about it?
Well, you're talking about something that happened at the end of May and beginning of June. We've done a lot of things to help support our small businesses. One, we've given them grants to help them restart their businesses. Number two, we went out right away and helped them with cleanup and board up activities. We've also helped them make sure that they have access to information and product and services so they can get their businesses back up and running. That's been ongoing now for almost 6 weeks.
They're very upset about the policing bill.
Okay, so what you got to give me more than that. Obviously, what we saw happen at the end of May and the beginning of June was a wave of looting and criminal activity that really swept across a lot of different neighborhoods. It didn't just affect the Korean community, it affected all communities. And so obviously what we've done is put a lot of measures in place, and I think what you've seen since the end of June and beginning of July is a significant decrease and really an elimination of the looting that plagued us that last weekend in May. And we're going to continue to work with our business community. What I'd urge all shopkeepers, all business owners, is to sign up for the alert system that we put into place through the 911 system. If you go call 311, we'll be able to set you up. It's called Shy Biz, and it's an alert. You can sign up by zip code, and we will alert you to whether or not there are any issues or conditions on the ground that would affect your business. But the city has put a lot of measures in place over these last 6 weeks to make sure that we're supporting all small businesses across the city.
Last question.
Hi, good morning, how are you? Good to see you.
We are seeing today the Taste of Chicago being reimagined. Any word as to what will happen with the Chicago Marathon? We have seen most marathon majors that happen.
Yeah, we expect, we've been talking at length with the marathon organizers, and we expect an announcement coming shortly.
Thank you, everyone. Please hang on. Commissioner Kelly is going to kick us off in the procession.
All right.
Thank you again, Mayor Lightfoot. We're now going to strike up the band. The 4-Star Brass Band will be kicking off a food truck procession starting here at Buckingham Fountain, and then they'll be fanning out to the neighborhoods and then participating in our free meals for 21 hospitals and community organizations. So enjoy Taste of Chicago to go, and let the brass band begin the procession.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.